All right, today in the shop we have this PECO bagger motor. It's got the impeller inside, which you see on a lot of machines that they hook up when they're using a bagging system. And today I'm going to show you how to take the shroud off, take the impeller off, in case you have to, well, what I'm doing is I'm actually changing motors. This motor actually seized up, so we got to put this whole assembly on another motor. All right, so the first thing you want to do, I already took them out, but they're going to have a nut and a bolt all the way around the casing. There's going to be a bunch of them all the way around. These are 11 millimeter, and on this side, we actually have a Torx head on this side. But some cases, a lot of them are just going to be a regular bolt over here, which both sides will be 11 millimeter. You take all of those out, and that will pull this shroud off. Now, 99.9% of the time, there's going to be so much grass caked right here, you won't even see your bolts. You're going to need a pick because you're going to have to pull all that grass off of here. It's caked on so that your socket will actually fit on these bolts here. All right, but the first thing you want to do, this is a 9/16 bolt, is we are going to take that out. Hold your fan here from spinning. Just put your hand on it. Bolts out. Next up, you're going to have these two bolts here, which are 7/16, and you can see you can't even get a socket on there. That's why you need to pick. You're going to have to clean this area first. Get all that grass out of there so you can get the socket on. All right, got all the grass out of there. This centerpiece should come out. Now be careful, there's going to be another washer right behind it. See that one there? All right, so it would go back on just like that. These little notches right here, they actually go right around those bolts to keep that from spinning. It keeps that locked in place, and your spacer is going to go underneath like that. All right, now we can take our 7/16 bolts and take them out. Bolts are out. Now, you may not see it here. There's a lot of grass buildup, which we're going to use our pick again. But there's going to be two holes in here that you need to take these bolts and screw them in there, which will push against the fan and pry this out like that so that you're able to slide this fan off. But let's go ahead and scrape all this and reveal those holes first. All right, you can see where the holes are now. I scraped all that grass off, so we're going to take our pick and we're just going to try to clean that grass out of there. But be careful because these holes here aren't threaded. It's actually threaded in the impeller part when you screw them in. But these here have a thread on them, and it doesn't go into the fan. The bolt just actually pushes against it. So we want to be careful we don't screw up the threads in here. But we just want to get that clean enough. What I'm going to do is take an air gun and some WD-40. I'm going to spray this, and then I'm going to take an air gun and blow all this, clean these holes out a little bit better so that I don't cross thread or nothing like that. And I'll take a little WD-40 and just kind of lube it up a little bit because we do want this to slide off rather easy. All right. I'm going to let that soak for a second. Then I'm going to get my air gun and I'm going to blow this out. You might want to hold your ears. I'm going to blow this out now. Now we're going to take our bolts and we're going to start to hand thread it in there. One on the other side. Okay, now I'm going to take my gun, and you want to do this very, very carefully, not a lot of force, because these will snap off inside of here, and then you have other problems getting this off. It's really tough to pry off because you have no room to get in here. So be very careful putting these in if you're using a gun. All right, but these are tight by hand now, so I'm just going to drive them in really, really slow on each side, little bit at a time. And I'll show you how it starts pulling it off. I'm going to drive in a little bit, and I'm going to drive this one in a little bit. I'm going to drive this one in a little bit. All right. You can see the bolt actually touching the impeller fan through the back. All right. Now, both these bolts are touching. Now is where we're going to put a little bit of pressure again on each one. And what it will do is it will start separating this from the fan to allow you to pull that fan off. We'll hold our fan, and that's going to want to spin on me there. I'll go in a little bit more. it's pulling out. Here you can see here. You can see how big the gap is now. All right, so it looks like, yeah, it spread it pretty good. You should be able to tug on this fan now a little bit. Let me try it with one hand here. Just kind of shake it. And then you should be able to pull this center piece out. Just like that. Now, to get these out of here, you're going to need to put this into a vise to hold this steady while you back these out. All right, but we'll put that aside for now. And you can see now your fan, well, it's stuck on there with a lot of grass. Kind of jiggle it back and forth a little bit, and she'll slide off. Just like that. Now underneath here, you're going to have more grass. You're going to have to get your pick, because this is where you're going to have 4 1/2-inch bolts going in. So we'll get our pick. We'll clean this up. Got our 1/2 inch on there. Now with those 4 bolts out, you should be able to just pull that right off. And you can see the buildup of grass and everything underneath. So when you get this off, now's a good time to blow all this out and clean this, because this is why these motors will overheat. With that shroud on there, it's just capturing everything in between the shroud and this motor, and it's all building up. And look, it starts accumulating on these fins, and then these things can't breathe right, which is probably why this motor had gone and seized up, overheated. Now, before you put all these back on, you can go around and scrape all the grass and stuff out of there. All right, we got all the parts pretty much scraped off. And to prevent that from happening in the future, you can just take a can of WD-40. Well, not that it won't happen again, but to limit it. And I just kind of give everything a coat to try to help the grass from sticking to it again, or at least limit it. So before we put all this back on, I'm just going to give everything a nice coat. And that's it. Go ahead and put it back together exactly the way you took it apart, but be careful. Remember, those bolts will snap. If you're in doubt and you're using a battery-powered gun, just switch to your hands. Go with the socket and don't put too much torque on them. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped. Give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. I'll see you next time.